for power. Can't a lust for power and doing the right thing converge? Has that not happened during this entire period?
Yeah, you can be a very powerful person in a positive way, but the problem is that a self-examination isn't a real characteristic of people who are powerful. People who are powerful have people constantly telling them, you're right, you're great, you've got the answer, don't listen to the naysayers. And this was particularly huge in this administration that's just ending. I know Dick Cheney is famous for saying, the polls are against you, and his famous response, so?
Yeah.
Basically, a self-questioning or a devil's advocate type position is wonderful to have when what you do has tremendous impact on the citizens of a big country like this. The problem is that it is not a characteristic of people who are powerful to question themselves, and the whole apparatus that's built around them reinforces that.
Well, unless it's just a whitewash, it certainly seems that Barack Obama, at least in my lifetime, is the first one who really basically says, I want you to disagree with me.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see what happens during the course of his presidency, but going into it, it appears that that's the way he wants to be. With that in mind, you go from Dick Cheney, who we were talking about off the air, bluntly spoken, the devil. Now you've got Joe Biden, who's going to be the vice president, who certainly has a background and experience. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he does have a background and experience, and hopefully he's going to go along with Obama's tone, and he's going to want people to tell him what the story is and tell him the truth. The problem in Washington, D.C., and I've seen this, I've been there, whether you're in some agency or you're in the Oval Office or wherever, people want to tell you what they think you want to hear. That's not advice. It is not usually going to have a good result, but it happens all the time. It takes a lot of steel, essentially, to sit at a table of 15 other people representing all kinds of agencies and military branches of the military, and to tell a president of the United States, well, you might want to consider this. This is a little different story, but you might want to hear what I have to say on this topic. It's different from all the other 14 people sitting here. If the president doesn't want to hear that, just by his body language, he's going to make sure that you know that you shouldn't bring that up again. Mm-hmm. This is how we got in Iraq. We look for these explanations that are really, really significant and substantial of how could we have made these mistakes. We made it because of sheer power. The Republican president wanted to go in and invade Iraq because of his past history with Saddam Hussein, because Vice President Cheney has a past history here. And this was unfinished business. And that's how we got there. We didn't get there as a response to pursuing Al-Qaeda.
But what you're talking about is essentially a human characteristic,
right.
This
exactly.
Lust for power and the desire to have sycophants. If that's the case, wouldn't that be true of every leader anywhere in the entire world?
Do you remember the old story about Julius Caesar riding in his chariot, and he had a servant, a slave, that was hanging over his back saying, remember thou art mortal. This is like a famous story about him where he was trying to keep his head on straight, supposedly, and was never able to, of course, and he gets assassinated by all of the other senators as a result. So basically, yes, it is a human factor. The problem is, it's just exactly like Terry says, it takes a lot of character and steel to resist a human impulse.
One of the basic questions, do we have too many agencies? It seems like everybody's looking out for us. Everybody's supposed to Homeland Security and the DNI and the CIA and all of this stuff.
Well, we think we do. We think we needed the CIA, and we certainly still do. We think we need an FBI, but in the aftermath of 9/11, to have a Department of Homeland Security, what do they do? I know they were responsible for Hurricane Katrina. That's not a shining example of their efficiency and effectiveness, but
well, they must be very powerful if they can control the weather.
Well, now, very good point. Very good point. Well taken. I just think we've gotten a long way away from focus on the terrorism problem, and people have been misled. And here's the sad thing, Ron: for a lot less money, we could have been a lot more effective by going out to the American public with the most significant marketing campaign you've ever seen since Smokey the Bear, and said, only you can help us prevent terrorist acts. You need to pay attention. Kathy and I have gone back and looked at just about every international and domestic terrorist act that's been committed against this country for the last 20 years. in just about every one, or those that were prevented, they were prevented because concerned citizens saw something suspicious and called, and everything came together. Or they were solved because people saw things and called. That's the way crimes are solved.
808-0810. We'll go to the phones next segment. 10:43 the time. Book Homeland Insecurity. I'm Ron Owens, KGO.
Do you owe taxes you can't afford to pay? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Has the IRS selected your return for audit, or has the IRS or state threatened to levy your bank account or wages? I'm tax attorney Robert Goldstein, and my firm understands that dealing with the IRS and state can be complicated and frustrating. That's why we devote our entire practice to helping you, the taxpayer. We can prepare your past due tax returns, even if you don't have all your records. You may qualify to pay only pennies on the dollar for back taxes, or you may qualify to get rid of your back taxes through bankruptcy. The law offices of Robert Goldstein are located throughout the Bay Area and specialize in offers in compromise, tax return preparation, audits, bankruptcy, payroll liabilities, and criminal cases. My firm is also a debt relief agency. Remember, your privacy is only safe with an attorney. Don't face the IRS or state alone. My firm has successfully resolved thousands of cases. Let our experience work for you. To schedule your free consultation with me, call toll-free 1-888-TAX-EXIT. That's 1-888-TAX-EXIT, 888-TAX-EXIT, and make it your last stop.
Hey, Northern California, I'm Ty Pennington, and it's time for the Home Show. Come to the show for great deals, inspiration, new products, some of my personal favorites, and to talk with experts about how you can get started on your next project. Now, I can't be there, but my good friend Rip Hillis is going to be there, so go check him out at the show.
The South Bay Home and Garden Show, January 9th to 11th at the Santa Clara Convention Center. Buy online and save at southbayhomeshow.com.
The Spa Spectacular has closeout pricing on spas for every budget this weekend at the Home Show.
Hey, it's KGO's Gil Gross here. Still seeing better in 2020 thanks to Wavefront LASIK with Harvard MD and 49ers LASIK surgeon Dr. Scott Hiver. Boy, when I used to go to the movies, I'd try and de-smudge my glasses on my shirt. Just made it worse. The movies without glasses, so much clearer, so much more enjoyable. How about you? You ready to throw away your glasses and contact lenses? Enjoy a simpler, easier life? Well, if you're between the ages of 21 and 65 and you currently wear glasses or contact lenses to correct your distance vision, see if Dr. Scott Hiver can help you. And now through March 31st, Dr. Hiver is offering a special 24-month interest-free plan on Wavefront LASIK. That's right. If you qualify, spread your payments over 24 months, not pay a nickel of interest. But the offer is limited, so call now to schedule your free LASIK evaluation with Dr. Scott Hiver. Just call 800-454-2747, 800-454-2747, or go to ScottHiver.com, SCOTTHYV as in vision, ER.com. Scott Hiver Vision Care, Inc., a professional medical corporation.
For a copy of KGO's contest rules, call or write the radio station, or online, check our website at KGORadio.com.
KGO News Talk 810. I've got the power.
The book is Homeland Insecurity. Terry Turchie, Kathleen Puckett in the studio. To the phones. Lisa calling from Gilroy. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Ron. I'd like to toss in a quick quote before my question.
Yeah.
Attributed to Abraham Lincoln, I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts and beer.
Love that.
Your question.
Okay, my question is, I can't recall hearing recruitment ads for the CIA before, and now all of a sudden they're all over KGO, and I wonder, does that represent some kind of change, or is it just they've decided to use the media? Or, I mean, it's kind of spooky.
Interesting question.
Well, that's a great question. Actually, we're just in one of those time frames in history, and they happen every few years, maybe every 10 years. Both the FBI and CIA actually are in major recruiting drives because people have started to retire in vast numbers that were hired, say, 30 years ago. And you have these things happen, and I think that's what we're seeing. But obviously, there's also a buildup of the agency and of the FBI, and so there is a need for more people. So it's a combination of those factors, but certainly everybody's hiring.
But you hear things about the CIA, for example, that we have this total shortage of people who speak Farsi or who speak Arabic. I mean, how is that possible in a country this size and with this intelligence?
Well, the recruitment for languages is something that's always, you always want linguists. The problem is that you have to do background investigations, and people who are native speakers may have a difficult time doing a background investigation of somebody from a country that speaks the language you're interested in.
Olga